Friday, January 13th, Jason Roberts, demonstration speech. And here is my audience. And then one handle camera duty, Scotty. Should be just the same as yours. You can zoom in if you want. Okay. So, I'm sure some of the people in this room have probably bought a vehicle before that you either wanted to change the radio in, or you've had a vehicle for a while and it's just done its time and you're ready for an upgrade. Which is a pretty simple process. You just go out and buy yourself a car stereo, but why would you want to pay someone to put it in for you when you could save the money out of your pocket, especially when times are pretty hard now, and you could just do it yourself. So I'm going to show you a few easy ways that you can do this yourself at home and save yourself a bunch of money, at least $150 taking it to someone and putting it in for you. You're going to need a few tools. Let's start with, you need a screwdriver. In this case I have a Phillips head and a flathead screwdriver in one. This is going to be your primary tool for changing your radio. You also might need a basic socket set. Another thing you're going to need is a wiring harness, which looks just like this. All the wires will be labeled correctly. You're going to need a installation kit for your radio, which helps it fit correctly into the dash. Another tool, which is going to be very helpful, you don't need it, but is a manual for your vehicle. This will tell you what all the wires are in your car, so you're not guessing. You know which wires go to your speakers and which wires go to your power. Another thing that is useful but not necessarily needed is an installation guide. You can get, you don't have to buy these, you can actually get this for free. I got this one off crutchfield.com. I downloaded it for free, and as you see, if I flip through the pages here, it kind of gives you a step-by-step on how to do it, and then at the end they have troubleshooting helps, tech tips. So just in case you don't know or you think you have a problem, they're very helpful. Another thing you're going to need, obviously, is your car stereo, which this is not an aftermarket car stereo. This is actually my factory radio on my truck, but for this demonstration it'll work just as well. So the first thing you're going to need to do is take out your old radio out of your car. So your first step is going to be to take off all the trimming off of your dash, which is a pretty simple process as long as you have your handy screwdriver. You just get under your dash. There should be about 3 or 4 screws on the sides and the bottom, and you remove those and it should pop right off. And what it'll do is it'll remove this panel here around the outside, and it'll open up this hardware you need to get to. And then you just take your screwdriver, unscrew your screws, and this should be free. And then what you do is you flip it around, and there's a connecting piece for your old wiring harness here, and your antenna goes in there. You just unplug them. It's very simple. You take this out, you can put it wherever you need to. It's not needed anymore. And your next step is going to be to take your factory or your aftermarket radio, and you're going to use your installation kit. And what you're going to do is you're going to slide it into the face, and then you take these mounting brackets from the side and you screw them into the side of your radio. That way this is all one piece. Then when you install it, you don't have to worry about it getting stolen. You don't have to worry about it falling out of your dash randomly if you hit a bump or go over a speed bump of some sort. Your next step is going to be to take your wiring harness, and you take all your wires and match them with what's in your driver's manual and your owner's manual, and match up all your wires, and you want to put them all together. And then you're going to want to take wire crimps and crimp all your wires together. That way you don't have the wires touching after you install it, because if you do, you're going to have a short, which is going to be very problematic. Another issue that you're going to have to get by is you're going to have to take this when you're done and take your installation kit, your mounting brackets, and you're going to have to slide that into the dash. But before you do, you always want to make sure to turn the radio on and test it. Go to your favorite station or a station you know of, turn it on, make sure all your speakers work, go through all the settings in your radio, make sure all the settings work before you install it, because if you screw it in, you're just going to have to take it back out and redo the whole process over. And then once you're done, it's pretty simple. You just mount it back up in, and it's just like when you take this one out, the screws go in here, which will actually be in this mounting bracket. You can see It's very similar looking, and all you do is you put your screws in there, it'll be mounted in, and then your last step is going to be to take the trimming, the whole front of your dash, snap it back into place, and then take your setting screws and put them into place. And doing these simple things, you can save yourself a lot of money by having someone else install your car stereo, and you're going to actually probably get a lot of experience out of doing it too. So I'll take this now, and if anybody has any questions, I'll do a Q&A. So if anybody has any questions about anything I just said.
How long does the whole process take, you think?
It's usually approximately, probably, it takes me about an hour. I mean, the less experienced you are, you're gonna run across a lot more processes you're gonna have to come through. The wires don't fit correctly, you're gonna have to adjust it, or if the wiring harness doesn't fit quite behind the dash, behind the radio when you install it, you might have to adjust that, but it's very simple to do. It'd probably take you an hour and a half at the most to do it, and that's why you always want to turn the radio on and check that your speakers work before you install it again, because otherwise you got to take all your screws out, pull the radio out, unhook all the wires, and then rehook them all up again. It's a huge pain on you since you're doing it yourself. Anybody else has any questions?
What would it cost to have somebody else install it?
I know if you haven't done it at Best Buy, they'll do it for $100, and they don't charge you anything, but they don't give you a warranty on it either. So if the radio malfunctions, or if you have a problem with the radio falling out of the dash by some chance, they don't cover that. You'd have to pay extra for that. It'd probably be $150. If you haven't done it at a professional car installation place, it's probably going to cost you more, around $150 to $175.
Compared to an hour and a half of your own labor.
Yeah, which costs you nothing, and it's not really that difficult to do. I kind of taught myself how to do it. It's something I'm become quite good at doing. Anybody else have any questions?
The wiring harness.
Yes.
Does that just fit right in the back of the radio?
Yes, here I will show you for an example. I'll get this on camera too. If you take a look at the wiring harness here, I have the manual. You can see on the front of it here.
Now does that go in the back of...
And I'll show you the back of the radio. It's very similar.
So it just plugs in there.
Yes, it just plugs right in there.
And it comes with these wires on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the wires that are on your vehicle will probably be different colors. And that's why it's nice to have the manual, because all cars have different colors for their wiring harnesses. So if you don't have that, you're going to be confused on what you're working with. It makes it easier. Anybody else have any questions? All right. Thanks, guys.